Here in Wells today, we got some towering cumulus early in the morning. It's only 10 a.m. Some of these will get little hail cores, little grapple cores. Some of these might make a lightning strike or two today in the BC interior. Not confident on that, but it is a possibility. That's kind of indicative of what to expect kind of this week. These single pulse cells. And not a whole lot for weather stories. Mostly sunny, mostly cool. One thing I gotta say about Wells is we have the most polite and trained crows I've ever seen in a town. As I'm like walking around, different crows are like flying near me and parking and giving me a hello. Not in the annoying way that crows usually are, where they're like, bah, bah, bah. Just fucking. The last guy was like, beep, beep. I said, good morning. And then he stopped. That's like fucking most politest crows in history. It's weird.
I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming by the channel. Maybe you don't realize this because the narrative generally is Joey does a lot of good for everybody. And I hear that kind of thing a lot. But maybe you don't realize how much good you're doing for me when you come here. I had a bit of a crappy week. I mean, I feel pretty happy, I guess, inside, but I'm definitely physically depressed right now. I was supposed to be down in Squamish at the fire training, and then I got something stuck in my, that didn't work out. Then I got something stuck in my eye for 2 days, and then finally Saturday morning I could see again, but then right about that time I got this crazy diarrhea. I guess I should be thankful that, I never had diarrhea in my eye, so that was one thing at least. But it's been that kind of a week, and I'm just been sleeping a lot, and I guess you'd say physically depressed. So this channel is my outlet often. It's when I got no one to talk to around here, I talk to you. When my kids aren't here, especially, which they aren't this weekend because I was supposed to be down south. There's my kids at Helmkin Falls. Anyways, every week for Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, we make a work week weather report for BC and beyond. And I mean, there's not a lot of weather stories for BC. The real big stories that are going to be happening again this week are tornado stories in the United States. So look forward to that probably Wednesday, and we'll talk about all that this week. Mostly BC's weather is staying kind of the same, cool, and got these sort of scattered bits of puffy cumulus that are making themselves into little pulse storms. I haven't seen any lightning, but they are capable. There's enough convection there that maybe one of these in the next coming days will fire a lightning bolt or two. I'm not confident on that. I do think there's Ghost Lake waterfalls. That's why I live here. I love this place in Wells. I do. So this is my main project that this all grew out of, Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers. What do we got now? 15.2 thousand members. We've lost a few members lately because there's a lot of people who think that I'm left-wing woke or something, and whatever. I've got some real backlash lately and some hate mail, and see ya. Don't care. But here's some of the things you might see. People sharing their weather. Of course, there was that big Northern Lights show on the 23rd of March, and there was one again on Friday that was a little bit okay. Jay Ackley up in Sun Peaks and his beautiful dog. Highway 5 was closed last night in both directions. So there was a little bit of a weather story going on there and some accidents. A little bit of hail in Vernon, Kaylee Gearing says yesterday. And we've already had that here in Wells this morning. Tiny, we call that grapple when it's tiny, tiny hail. Jamie Delves, always getting a squirrel by her feeder. Kaylee had to blur out her sister on that photo 3 days ago. A little bit smoky in Kamloops area that day. We did have some of that last week, what you would call air quality statements. And then here's my awesome picture I took while out chasing Northern Lights on Thursday night, and you can see the video of that here on this channel. And we'll have a quick look at the radar to get things going today. As you can see, these are the little cells that we've been seeing, single cells. This one just outside of Barkerville had some hail in it. That's basically what we've been seeing mostly here, is these little grapple hail squalls, and when it came through Wells and kind of built up, and that's more or less been our story. And you see there's more of that in the Caribou Mountains, some of that in the hills outside of Fraser River Valley. So these are the kind of squalls you might come across. You see on precipitation, those are all snow based in the Caribou, whereas we have a bit more of a mix of rain and snow going on down in southern BC this morning. So that's that. This is Earth. Everyone who's ever lived is there. Okay, everyone you've ever known, all your friends and family, they're all here, says Carl Sagan. So first we just look at the temperatures in North America on this Sunday afternoon, and you can see, for the most part, Canada is still largely flirting with freezing, especially if you get up near Hudson Bay. But most of us still getting pretty cool nights and some sunshine in the day. But you can see already looking down the states, the setup that's coming. We have a Colorado low already developing here. And look at all this warmth and humid air coming to press into here. I wonder where the dry line has been. So we go here to relative humidity. And there you go. So you have all this coming into what's going to be storm central again on Wednesday. And you see all the dry air helping to create the dry line. You got warm, moist air. You got winds going in several directions. We got convergences. We got cold air in the north. We got everything you need for a miraculous and insane killer tornado setup. I have no idea still how many tornadoes came down this week on Friday. If you told me it was over 100, I would definitely believe you. I was watching all day and it was nonstop. There was at one point, there was something like 20 odd tornado warnings in effect. Like I've never seen anything like that in my life. And that's why this is what's called this map shows convective available potential energy, and that's going to be riding its way up just in time for everything to collide for big storms this week. Meanwhile, in Canada on Sunday, nothing going on for BC. Heavy snow, 10 centimeters will continue today in the Vulcan area of BC. Go a little bit south east of Lethbridge, 10 to 20 centimeters near the Cypress Hills, 60-kilometer wind gusts, falling snow conditions. So we got a big low sitting right now in the prairies, and that's affecting a lot of places today. System of tracking across the southern prairies will bring 10 to 15 centimeters of snow to southeastern Saskatchewan and southwestern Manitoba beginning Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. So that is going on right now. Winter weather. The remnants of Friday's storm moving its way through the Maritimes now. Heavy winds in some places, 90 kilometers per hour in Anacostia. 35 centimeters of snow expected in Newfoundland and Labrador on the mainland. That just gives you a little bit of an idea, but mostly, if you look at weather warnings across North America, it's pretty much the quietest day we've had in a while. So that's why we will look at Trusty Windy. Here's Sunday at 10 a.m. And what we're really looking for here is the BC workweek weather. It's just there's not a whole lot of stories to tell. We see this low kind of developing in the middle of the central states. This map is showing strong winds. We can see those warnings that are in effect down there in Quebec area, in the Maritimes. Strong winds if you're out in the ocean right now on either side, but definitely Atlantic. And we see how those lows are developing Monday at 3 a.m. This is going to be our big show for the week, right? Let's go to rain and thunder. BC, not a whole lot going on, really. I mean, some flurries in the north on Monday. The big story is the Colorado low developing and what it's going to do this week, right? So spotty. I mean, you may see some squalls like you've been seeing the last few days, how we're a little more organized on Monday. But again, these aren't snowstorms. Monday, 11 p.m., that low is now working its way into the middle of the United States. And it's going to get extreme. You know, if this next tornado outbreak looks to be anything like the one we just had, I will not at all be surprised. You see convergence coming in hardcore into the middle of that low. Snow on the backside. Thunderstorms already developing up in Wisconsin and Illinois Tuesday. And then we start seeing the first round of it Tuesday, 4 p.m. Some pretty well organized storms moving their way up into, again, Illinois and Iowa and Wisconsin. So some of those same places that saw some pretty strong storms this week. Again, but it's Wednesday where the real line lines up. And look at BC, we got nothing to talk about in our weather. It's really a holding pattern for us in British Columbia of kind of the same weather stories. Maybe it'll warm up a little bit into the second week of April. I'll believe it when I see it. Some of you down south will probably see that. Here we go, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Lots of freezing rain across north central Ontario and Quebec. Strong thunderstorms right from, that looks like Louisiana, Mississippi, up into Kentucky and that low again pushing Manitoba getting a good dose of weather, Northern Ontario getting a winter storm, up into the East Coast, freezing rain, probable Wednesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. So if you live in the Maritimes, expect Thursday to have some bad driving conditions. And that's finally when we start to see, we got these lows up in the BC coast. And again, that high pressure that's been existing, the cooler weather, like you look where the temperature sits, largely it's been preventing things. I mean, this low is trying to drive some warmer weather into BC, northern Alberta, into a little bit of the territories up there through overnight. So we might finally see in some places overnight temperatures that aren't freezing in the interior and whatnot. Of course, the coast, that's pretty normal. And some of you people who live down in the low places of the Okanagan, that's pretty normal too, right? Thursday at 10 a.m. And we've already seen that the temperatures look to be pretty warm into the BC interior at that time. And that's typical of when storms are moving into the province, right? At this time of year, especially. That'll help bring. So Thursday, 5 p.m., heavy precipitation along Vancouver Island, the lower mainland, into the coast mountains, some here in the Caribous, definitely up along the Pine Pass. Definitely seeing that. A lot of you will see this as rain. So especially lower mainland areas in Washington, you definitely have a chance of some rain there. Look at this, Williams Lake maybe getting a bit of a pass, but Quesnel and Prince George maybe seeing a mix, right? So overnight on Friday, that's when this is. And that gives us we get some freezing rain potential in through the Caribou Friday at 7 a.m. That's something we're going to want to watch for sure if you're on your morning commute. So nothing crazy for weather stories, but definitely some precipitation moving through overnight Thursday. And then we got the next low coming up. Low will blast the coast on the weekend again, and we will have weekend weather stories. When it's time. Heavy rain for Vancouver Island. Heavy rain, that's looking more and more like a rain story for everywhere along the coast. And even into some of the Caribou Mountains, unless you're in the high mountains. So, but next weekend we'll see disturbances move through, and I'm not going to make long-range guesses as to what those disturbances might look like. We basically have an idea that rain or snow is possible on Saturday this next week. We know that overnight Thursday there could be some weather. All in all, kind of holding pattern for BC temperature. This is projections for new snow over the next 5 days, so over this work week. Definitely if you're in the Coast Mountains and if you're in center Vancouver Island, you might see some snow there for sure this week. The biggest amounts, 45 centimeters. That's still quite a bit of snow. It's April and it's snowing hard at times in those places. You see some of these areas. What we've been getting here in Wells is these little squalls and whatnot. So I expect that some of these places where you're seeing snow on here are kind of projections as to their high areas where squalls will keep kind of dropping mix of graupel, hail, rain, snow, things like that. So through the week, you can kind of expect a continuance of that to go on over the next 10 days. So that includes into the next weekend and the next week where we expect snow to be. Again, Prince George, Hickson, Quesnel, Nasco, Williams Lake, 100 Mile, mostly getting a pass on that snow. Kamloops, Salmon Arm, Vernon, Kelowna. And so we're going to see the snow, especially into the mountains, especially if you're driving across province when these events are happening and you're into the passes. And if you like skiing up and look at that, you got some big snow that's going to happen in the Pine Pass, over 65 centimeters. So, I mean, you get warm enough that some of the snow will settle during the day. So you might not see 181 new centimeters on the ground in the mountains on the coast. However, that is what will possibly fall, something like in that neighborhood. So do me a favor, keep coming back to the channel, keep subscribing, keep telling a friend, and hello to everyone at the Caribou Quesnel Observer. Thanks very much, Frank, for spreading these videos around and helping me get bigger audience. I really appreciate it. And everyone who comes around and subscribes and is here all the time, it means a lot to me because you are who I talk to more than anybody. I mean, a lot of you don't have this to relate to, but I see like the same 4 people for weeks in a row, not including my 2 kids, right? Like I go see Norma at the store, I see Josh. Sometimes I see Lisa in the back. Sometimes I go to Diggy's Diner. you know, like I don't see a lot of people in my day, right? So talking to you is one of my main outlets for, and then I get the feedback from you, and you know, there's my truck getting pulled out of a mud hole and on a mountaintop in clear water. Yeah, anything you could imagine will show up on this channel eventually. I'm so stoked for storm season. I'm going to be spending more money to upgrade my radar packages still yet again. So please support the channel. Hit the PayPal button down there if you would. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit share. Help me spread the algorithms. And we'll see you next time.